Hello, friends. Welcome back to yet another edition of Managementoring brought to you by Kya Matlab. Today, I'm going to touch upon a very interesting aspect of doing business, and that is why having a unique business idea doesn't necessarily mean that it will turn into a successful business. If you're into business, you may have come across a book called The Blue Ocean Strategy. It is one of the most popular, but I feel a very overrated book on business innovation. The book is written by two professors from a business school and says that you should pick an area where there are no competitors and create a niche innovative product to have a successful business model. That approach may have worked once in a while, and it is attractive because everyone wants to see themselves as an innovator and in a unique space, but most of the times it is a path to failure in business. The problem is, despite what everyone wants you to believe, the first path-breaking innovators in any field have very rarely achieved success. Innovation is not enough to win. You need market validation to have a business idea to be successful. So if you remember, I'll give you an example. When Thomas Edison was a young man and was thinking of making his first commercial invention, he considered several unique options. In those days, he saw that politicians would argue in the assembly houses and often had to shout to cast their votes on any particular issue. And this was, a cause of concern for him. So he then thought it would be a great idea of creating a voting machine that would let them cast their vote in a more civilized way. He spent a couple of years working on that, and finally, when the product was ready and perfected, he introduced it to the politicians, but no one wanted it. When he asked them why they didn't want to buy it, when it would clearly save time and energy, they said, because we want to shout and argue. That day, Edison had a huge realization. He had only focused on innovation, but not on validation. And validation is important because whether people even wanted what he was making or not was something he needed to know. He had fallen in love with his idea and started working blindly towards it, but finally it failed as a result. That day he actually told himself, from now on I am never going to make something that nobody wants. He then went on to not create, but rather perfect the legendary light bulb. Contrary to popular belief, Edison did not invent the light bulb. It was invented, of course, by some other inventors in his time, and there was a proven market and demand for something called a light bulb. Where the inventors failed was in making them last long enough to make it a commercially viable product. Edison solved this problem by making the first bulb fit for commercial use. It would last long enough, and the rest, of course, is history. To improve your chances of success, it is therefore far better to replicate an existing successful business model, build and improve upon it, and make it different and unique and introduce it to a new market or region. I'll give you some examples of today's businesses that have not been created originally but have become successful. So Jio is not the first wireless services company. Apple is not the first smartphone maker. Google is not the first search engine, and Facebook is not the first social media site. And I'm talking about big companies, the giants in this field. So in India also, you have well-known companies like Ola, Flipkart, Oyo, Zomato, etc. And they have replicated existing business models. They built upon existing ideas. And to take it one step further, many of the successful TV shows, like you see in the country today, Shark Tank, for example, are the ones that have first been proven to be successful in other markets. So don't glorify risk. Your goal should be to minimize risks and maximize returns. Also, you don't need to become an Ola or an Oyo to be successful either. It is perfectly possible to serve a niche client base and still make decent money by charging higher prices. So you decide which is a better model, a 100 crore company with a 5 crore profit or a 50 crore company with a 20 crore profit. So for the people who say that you should always create something that is completely innovative and has zero competition, they are wrong. You are most likely to fail that way than you are likely to succeed. Thank you very much.